College football stadiums draw some of the largest crowds for sports in the U.S. They truly can provide a sporting atmosphere unlike any other for those that attend or even those watching on TV. And while this is the case for many stadiums in college football, there are several that are very much the opposite, where well under capacity or even sparse crowds are the norm. These are the stadiums that are too big for college football. First, we have a stadium that is truly and quite literally a shell of its former self, and that is the Yale Bowl. The Yale Bowl opened 110 years ago at a capacity of around 70,000, which, at the time, was by far the largest stadium in college football. When it was built, Yale was known for being a powerhouse college football team, being crowned champion 17 times in a 45-year span. Unfortunately for Yale, by the time the team began to play here in 1914, the long run of success was beginning to end, as Yale would only be champion one more time after the stadium opened. Yale's relevance in college football would crater, and though it would take a long time, the Yale Bowl today often attracts crowds below 10,000 for football games. And despite some capacity reductions in more recent decades, the stadium looks like a massive shell of it and its football team's former glory. And given the layout of the stadium, not much can be done to fix this, save demolishing most of it or building new. Next, we have one of the most famous stadiums in college football that was actually inspired by the Yale Bowl, and that is the Rose Bowl. This stadium, which is now just over 100 years old and known for its famous bowl game, has been a home venue of the UCLA Bruins for over 40 years. The problem is, though, it can only ever fill for once a year for its namesake bowl game, and not for the team that calls it home. The UCLA Bruins, throughout most of their history, have pretty much always been a second-tier college football program in terms of success. However, the Rose Bowl, with its 92,000 plus capacity, requires what even a first-tier program such as nearby USC would be unlikely to fill. Today the Bruins can fill about half of that for UCLA football on average, and while a future planned renovation will bring down this capacity by roughly 20,000, it will still be a college football venue that will be quite a challenge to fill for its home team. Next, we have a stadium a little newer than the first two, and that is UTEP's Sun Bowl. Opening in 1963, the Sun Bowl would start as only a 30,000 capacity college football stadium. However, in time, it would grow to be the 51,000 capacity stadium that it is today. The problem is, though, that the attendance over the years has not come close to meeting capacity, with it only achieving just over a 17,000 average in fans per game in a recent 5-year span, meaning it cannot even fill to half, and as a result, many seats have to be tarped off. The team is not a powerhouse team and only appears in bowl games sparingly, and given the stadium's location in El Paso, Texas, the high heat of the area probably doesn't help either. A stadium that is much larger than the play of its team, it's definitely one that is too big for demand. Next, we return to the Ivy League with the University of Penn's Franklin Field. Much like that of Yale, Penn was a powerhouse football team in its early history, being crowned 4 championships in a 14-year span. In the same year as their first championship season, 1895, Franklin Field would open as a wooden version. In 1903, though, the first part of the version that is seen today would be built, to the tune of a 20,000 capacity. However, by 1925, it would be nearly 80,000. Penn football today, though, is mostly irrelevant in the world of college football. And even though the stadium is smaller than it was at its peak, with it holding about 52,500, the average attendance for Penn football at this stadium has not even cracked 14,000 in the last 21 years. In fact, these paltry numbers have continued to fall over these past 21 years, going from around 12 to 13,000 down to around 6,000 today. This stadium, like the Yale Bowl, has truly become a shell and reminder of this program's storied past. And finally, we have Cal Memorial Stadium. The home of the Golden Bears, this stadium dates back to the 1920s. When it would open, Cal would be enjoying a period of multiple undefeated seasons, and was fresh off being national champion twice in 3 years preceding the stadium's 1923 opening. As such, it would start as a 72,000 seat venue. This early success of Cal football would not carry through the decades though, similar to that of Penn and Yale. However, capacity actually increased as recently as a few decades ago. However, this would be taken down to its present 63K just over a decade ago. This, however, really is still too big, as over the last 5 years, Cal can only fill this to about 2/3. The football team, while it still makes bowl games from time to time, struggles, and often doesn't have winning records, only adding to the issue. It is unlikely that this stadium will need its full complement of seating much in the near future. Teams and times change, crowd sizes and stadiums follow suit. Most will not stay on top always and all the time, and this is reflected on what you'll see in the stands on game day. Thank you for watching.